in light of gateways, thurei, this is this incredible word that now the Spirit of God has chosen to use as a description. It's the idea of knocking. But let me tell you right now that the dark side knocks, the dark side seeks, the dark side truly through, think in terms of occult objects. I mean, the Ouija board, designed and I believe designed by dark spirit inspiration. Anything designed, rituals, books, materials, whatever else, charged objects all have behind them and with them the ability for dark spirits to knock. The Spirit of God tells us in the end of days they're going to be knocking like crazy. They're going to be knocking and drawing and bringing curiosity and seeking to get individuals to open the doors in which they will come through. The New Agers alone, spiritually guided by these same entities, they're even saying that DNA is a door. They're talking about an ascension, that somehow, some way, a spiritual unleashing on a global scale is coming. I believe they're right that a spiritual unleashing like never before in history will affect the totality of humanity on a global level, but it's not what they think. Everything that God has said, everything that God is, every promise that God gives, salvation, glorification, and all the rest, there's a counterfeit that is furiously being unleashed to the world because there is a plot and a plan. I'm telling you right now, that's why the gateways are being opened and have been being opened all over the place. And I don't doubt this at all, that new gateways will be unearthed under the waters, into the jungles, and straight up into the sky, into the atmosphere, in which many are now meditating on, looking to, and using supernaturally enhanced meditations, remote viewings, and so forth in order to engage, and they know it very well, entities. Let me touch on, I'm sharing with you what a gateway is. It's simply a door. That's all. If you think in terms of door, but the types of gateways, it could be dates and times. Now, I was watching a number of videos and documentaries and reading today. One of those big broad ones from 2008 talked about the date 11/11/11. You've heard now us talk about, and many others talk about 2012. More books have been written on 2012 than any other date we know of. More documentaries, more information, and activity in the last decade, and specifically throughout 2011, and throughout the last 8 months. Massive communication, interaction, energies, supernaturalism, involvement, rituals and circles and meditations and out of the body and astral projection and everything else, because times and dates mean a lot in the coordination of the other side getting to this side. Many think 2012, December 21st, 2012 is nothing. Anybody that knows anything about left-hand path or Wiccan or Druid in the concepts of rituals at the solstice, at ritual dates, designed by that side, summoned by that side, designated by that side. If you will come, if you will do what they want, if you'll come to the doorways, if you'll amass, if you'll do exactly what they say, the doorways will open and they will come through. That's how it was in the ancient days. That's how it was with Baal and Moloch and all the rest of them in the Old Testament. That's how it was in Sumer and Babylon and other places. And this is, listen, this is what we're talking about. Ancient Nephilim sites like the Mayan temples, like most likely, I'm only giving you my opinion at this time, The upside down mountain has something to do with an ancient Nephilim site. The Nazis, Anarby, the spiritually, these were the guys that were going out to find every spiritually charged place, revelation, object, to enhance them on a human level, to enhance them in military, and to enhance them in the development of a global Reich. The weaponization of powers and the places of powers, well, that was part of the agenda of the Nazis. Being spiritually guided, they were being guided all over the planet to get to the objects. And that was passed on after the war. Why do you think the Russians have gone after it? The United States have gone after it. Why do you think Michael Aquino, a military colonel, founder of the Temple of Set, who's declared that he knows that a satanic grotto has been placed on every military place in the world base? That's Michael Aquino. The Temple of Set, the idea of the their version of Satan. He went to Wewelsburg Castle, where the Hall of the Dead is, where the old, real human skulls that had been ritualized and charged in the circle were. What kind of ritual did he do there? He went to an ancient place where the spirits would have been and designed for the communication. Individuals are going to Upside Down Mountain, Stonehenge, to the Bosnian temples, to the Indonesian ones, to the ziggurats around the world, to the places that are considered ancient Nephilim sites. And I'm going to say again, that's the primary places on a global scale. And these are in December and around the 21st, and specifically on that date. And I will be at the Mayan temples on that date with a team. Whether you or I believe it or not, they believe by the hundreds of thousands on a global scale. They have been summoned, they have been called, they have been gathered to draw near, to gather around, to do as described and prescribed by the spirits, to do what is necessary to open the gateways so that a new age can come. Did you think the New World Order would come naked, all by itself? Did you think that the chaos and the Antichrist and the false prophet would just come out of what? It's going to come out of the developing powers coming through doorways that actually then have the hands-on to accomplish their agenda. Ancient places, old temples all around the world, places that are considered sacred sites or spiritual sites. The issue is what spirit, what entity. They don't die. The doors could be closed on them. The doors can be shut. The flood wiped out a lot of those doors. In Josiah's day, you can go back to read in 2 Kings 21, 22, 23. All these vast demonic gateways were opened up. It all led to human sacrifice of children. See, it doesn't begin that way. There has to be, the approach, but it always ends in that direction. And that's what's happening now. On a global scale, the broadest spiritual manifesting presence deception will lead to the greatest destruction of humans in the billions and to the greatest destruction of environment, to near annihilation. That's what the Spirit of God says. The combination of dark side, dark hearts, and gateways opened will bring about. Ritual sites. I've been to a number. Some of them highly charged. What I mean by that is you can feel the spirits as if they're walking next to you. Some of those ritual sites where major human sacrifice, black mass, other kinds of rituals have been done again and again and again. Those who've gone down to Chichen Itza, those who've been to the temple, they tell me Russ, it is one of the most darkest places. Russ, it is spiritually charged. Russ, there are entities there. Yeah, that's right. Ancient gods and goddesses being worshipped collect around and keep the doors open for thousands and thousands of other spirits to be there. We understand this in Scripture that when somebody cleanses a heart but Christ is not in their life and a spirit goes out, what does the spirit do? It goes out and finds more that are more powerful and worse and comes back to re-inhabit the empty. Come through the door and inhabit once again in the worst of ways and with greater grip and greater power. If you're someone that says, well, I started to get in that stuff and I know there were shadows and I know there were powers and I knew there were things, but I wanted to get away from it, you think they got away from you? Not until Christ comes to save, and he comes in with his authority to set you free. Can I give you a verse? In Colossians chapter 1, read verses 10, 11. Read right on. See, when any human being comes to the living Christ, there's an exchange. You are plucked out of the dominion of darkness, where Satan has rights, sin has power, and you are lost. There's a word the Spirit of God uses there. It means that you've been pulled up and transferred over and placed into another realm. When you get saved, that's what salvation includes. Plucked up from the rights and hold of the dominion of darkness and transferred over and planted into permanently the basileia, the kingdom of Christ. The spiritual, we're talking about the very presence of a kingdom, a rule, the rule and the reign of Christ. If Christ dwells in you, you're in his kingdom. If Christ does not dwell in you, if the living Christ is not in, well, we've said it many times, Romans chapter 8, if you have not Christ, the Spirit of Christ, you're none of this. And if that's true, you are still, whether you like it or not, whether you want to get mad or not, you're still in the dominion of darkness. And they're seeking what's in their view theirs. They believe, whether you like it or not, or whether I like it or not, they believe you are their property and they have rights. You want to check it out? Look at Ephesians chapter 2. In reference to one of the head of all of this darkness, to the prince or the ruler, the archon of the domain of the air, the eros, right above your heads, out there, space we call it, right above us. Spiritually, because of his rights, he reigns on a global scale with tens of millions of fallen ones. And it's only the Spirit of God that is warned, saying they're coming in mass numbers as never before in history on a global scale. They're knocking, they're seeking, they're pushing, they're wanting in. In reference to Revelation 3:20, when Christ himself says that he is knocking, he stands to the door of your heart, your life. And if you will let him in, Jesus says, I will come into you. He'll have fellowship. You will have fellowship with the living Christ. Be you a soldier, a scientist, a physicist, a barmaid, be you a drug addict, a wretched sinner, lost, depressed, drunk, whatever you are, there's a Savior that loves you. He knocks, he seeks, and he has the power to change your life and give you the gift, indestructible immortality. Gateways are being opened, and this has been done under cloak of secrecy and under cloak of masquerade. Metaskizmazatai, this is the ability of the dark side to completely alter its physics to present itself like masters, present itself like ancient teachers, present itself, listen carefully, alienologists and ufologists and those that want disclosure. I pray the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of God will speak to you in your heart. Because there are now hundreds of millions on a global scale that believe that the beings, the aliens, they're in the skies. They're out there. They're not extraterrestrial. They're solid, they're real, but they're extra dimensional. Just outside our realm. The only way they can get over is doorways, gateways, times, dates, equinoxes, solstice, places, ancient temples, where the ancient entities have been summoning tens of thousands, wanting out, wanting servants. The ancient temples, the ritual sites, a stone or an object charged can draw, can knock. Question is, why open it?